What if the very thing you've been ignoring is the first sign of something far more dangerous? As we get older, it's normal to see changes in our bodies. Some extra aches, a little less energy. But what if, instead of gaining weight over the years, you suddenly start losing it without even trying? Your appetite seems fine. You haven't changed your diet. Yet the numbers on the scale keep going down. At first, it might feel like a blessing. But what if this unexplained weight loss was actually your body's desperate way of telling you that something is terribly wrong? Doctors warn that sudden, unintentional weight loss is one of the earliest red flags for cancer, especially in older adults. Yet it's one of the most ignored symptoms. People assume it's just part of aging, a change in metabolism, or even a good thing. But by the time they realize the truth, it's often too late. This video could change everything you think you know about your health. Today, we'll reveal the hidden connection between unexplained weight loss and cancer. What's happening inside your body? Which types of cancer are most commonly linked to this symptom? And how to know when it's time to take action. And here's something even more alarming. Weight loss is rarely the only sign. There's another symptom. One so common that most people completely dismiss it, even though it could be the key to early detection. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn could be the difference between catching cancer early or too late. Let's begin. Unexplained weight loss, the silent alarm. Your body is desperately trying to send you. There's something unsettling about noticing sudden weight loss without any apparent reason. At first, it may seem like an unexpected benefit, a welcomed effect of stress, aging, or simply an improvement in metabolism. But what if this unexplained change wasn't a result of lifestyle adjustments? What if it was your body sending a silent warning, signaling something far more serious growing inside you? Doctors often say that sudden, unintentional weight loss is one of the first signs that something isn't right. And while most people might brush it off, attributing it to a busy schedule or a change in appetite, research suggests otherwise. According to the American Cancer Society, losing more than 5% of your body weight in 6 months without changing your diet or exercise habits could be an early indicator of certain types of cancer, particularly those affecting the digestive system, such as pancreatic, stomach, or esophageal cancer. What makes this symptom so insidious is that it often develops gradually. You might not even notice it until your clothes fit looser or a friend points it out. But deep inside your body, malignant cells could be altering the way your system processes nutrients, aggressively consuming energy at a rate far beyond normal. The science behind this phenomenon is both fascinating and alarming. Cancerous tumors demand an extraordinary amount of resources to fuel their uncontrolled growth, often hijacking the body's metabolism. This results in what medical experts call cachexia, a complex syndrome where muscle mass and fat reserves are depleted at an accelerated rate, making the patient appear frail, even if they feel otherwise healthy. In some cases, certain tumors release chemical compounds that actively interfere with the way the body absorbs nutrients, leading to rapid weight loss even when calorie intake remains unchanged. What's even more terrifying is that this process can start long before any pain or noticeable symptoms appear. The human brain has an incredible ability to rationalize changes in the body, making it easy to ignore warning signs. People might assume they're losing weight due to stress, an improved diet, or simply good luck. But as time passes and the weight continues to drop without a clear reason, that false sense of security can turn into a deadly oversight. Psychological studies have shown that confirmation bias, the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of existing beliefs, plays a major role in how people respond to symptoms. Many individuals convince themselves that their weight loss is harmless, delaying a doctor's visit until it's too late. By the time they realize something is seriously wrong, the disease may have already progressed to an advanced stage. Real-life cases reinforce the gravity of this warning sign. Numerous patients diagnosed with late-stage cancers report that their journey began with unexplained weight loss, often dismissed as insignificant. One such case is the story of Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther actor whose battle with colon cancer remained hidden from the public for years. His gradual weight loss was a subject of speculation, but few suspected the devastating reality behind it. By the time he succumbed to the disease, it was a stark reminder of how silent and deceptive cancer symptoms can be. Despite the alarming implications of sudden weight loss, most people still underestimate its significance. In a world where rapid weight loss is often glorified, it becomes even more difficult to recognize when it's a sign of something sinister. Socially, weight loss is often associated with positive outcomes, compliments from friends, a newfound sense of confidence, or the belief that one's body is simply adapting to a healthier routine. But when the cause remains unexplained, it's essential to question whether it's truly a positive change or a warning signal being ignored. This raises an urgent question. How can we differentiate between healthy weight loss and a potentially deadly sign of cancer? The key lies in examining other accompanying symptoms. If the weight loss is accompanied by persistent fatigue, loss of appetite, or abdominal discomfort, it's a red flag that should never be ignored. Doctors emphasize the importance of medical screenings, particularly for individuals over the age of 40 or those with a family history of cancer. Unexplained weight loss is not something to take lightly. It is your body's way of signaling distress, whispering a warning before the situation becomes dire. While it doesn't always mean cancer, ignoring it could mean missing a crucial opportunity for early detection. But what happens when your body gives you another, even more subtle warning sign, one that you might dismiss as simply being tired? There's another crucial symptom that could be indicating something even more alarming, and it's something most people experience without ever realizing its significance. Sitting here talking about this, I can't help but think about how many people might be going through the same thing right now, losing weight, feeling a little weaker, maybe even receiving compliments for it, without realizing that their body is sending a warning. It's easy to ignore. It's easy to tell yourself that you're just lucky, that maybe it's a metabolism boost or just a phase. But what if it's not? What if this is your body whispering a message that you can't afford to miss? The truth is, knowledge saves lives. That's why you're here watching this video, arming yourself with the awareness that so many people don't have. And if this information made you stop and think, even for just a second, then do something simple right now. Hit that like button. It may seem small, but it's a way to tell YouTube that this message needs to reach more people, that this warning shouldn't go unheard. And don't go anywhere, because weight loss isn't the only signal your body might be using to warn you. There's another hidden symptom, something even more common, something you've probably felt before and brushed off as just part of life. But what if I told you that feeling constantly exhausted, drained no matter how much you rest, could be another clue that something is deeply wrong? Let's talk about that next. Persistent fatigue. When feeling tired is more than just exhaustion. Fatigue is something we all experience. A long day at work, a restless night, or even stress can leave us feeling drained. But what happens when that exhaustion never goes away? When no amount of sleep, rest, or relaxation seems to replenish your energy? What if, instead of being just tired, your body is actually trying to tell you that something far more dangerous is happening beneath the surface? Chronic, unexplained fatigue is one of the most overlooked symptoms of cancer. Unlike ordinary tiredness, this kind of exhaustion feels different. It's deep, relentless, and affects every aspect of daily life. It's the kind of fatigue that makes even simple tasks, like getting out of bed or walking up the stairs, feel like an uphill battle. And yet, most people dismiss it, assuming they just need more sleep, better nutrition, or a less stressful schedule. But what if this isn't just stress or aging? What if this persistent fatigue is actually one of the first warning signs of a hidden illness? The science behind cancer-related fatigue is both complex and alarming. Unlike normal exhaustion, which improves with rest, this type of fatigue doesn't go away, no matter how much you sleep or relax. That's because cancer cells disrupt the body's energy production, in ways that scientists are still working to fully understand. Some tumors trigger systemic inflammation, releasing cytokines, proteins that cause the body to feel perpetually weak and drained. Other types of cancer interfere with red blood cell production, leading to anemia, which reduces oxygen flow to muscles and the brain, creating an overwhelming sense of exhaustion. Studies have shown that persistent fatigue can be an early indicator of cancers such as leukemia, lymphoma, and colon cancer. A report published in the British Journal of Cancer found that nearly 40% of cancer patients experienced extreme fatigue months before receiving a diagnosis. Another study from the American Cancer Society highlighted that patients with chronic fatigue were far more likely to ignore other symptoms, assuming their tiredness was due to their lifestyle rather than a medical condition. This mindset, this tendency to rationalize fatigue as just stress or burnout, is exactly what allows the disease to advance unnoticed. The psychological impact of this kind of fatigue is just as concerning. Unlike typical exhaustion, which can be relieved by a weekend of rest or a vacation, cancer-related fatigue lingers, affecting mood, memory, and motivation. It can lead to depression, irritability, and social withdrawal, making it even less likely that someone will seek medical attention. Many people who experience this persistent exhaustion develop a subconscious tendency to push through, blaming themselves for being lazy or unmotivated, rather than recognizing that something is wrong. Take the case of Jeanette Davis, a 42-year-old mother who spent months battling extreme exhaustion. She assumed it was due to stress from her demanding job and family responsibilities. She started sleeping earlier, changed her diet, and tried to exercise more, but nothing helped. It wasn't until she collapsed at work that she finally went to the doctor. The shocking diagnosis? Stage 3 lymphoma. Had she recognized her fatigue as a warning sign earlier, her treatment options could have been far less aggressive. Her story isn't unique. Countless individuals ignore chronic exhaustion, only to realize too late that it was the first symptom of a much bigger problem. The social perception of fatigue also plays a dangerous role in why so many people ignore it. In today's fast-paced world, exhaustion is often seen as a badge of honor, a sign that someone is hardworking, ambitious, or dedicated. But when fatigue reaches a point where it affects daily life, it's no longer just a symptom of a busy schedule. It's a potential medical emergency. So how can you tell if your fatigue is something more than just ordinary tiredness? The key is to pay attention to other symptoms. If exhaustion is paired with unintentional weight loss, dizziness, persistent pain, or frequent infections, it could be an urgent red flag. Doctors emphasize the importance of listening to your body and recognizing when something feels off. If you find yourself feeling drained for weeks or months without improvement, it's time to seek medical attention. Fatigue is easy to ignore. It's easy to brush off as something trivial. But for many, it's the first sign that cancer is taking hold. The question is, will you listen before it's too late? And if fatigue isn't enough to raise concerns, there's another sign that is even easier to overlook, one that many people experience daily without realizing its hidden danger. What if the very routine changes in your body were secretly signaling something far more sinister? Think about this for a moment. How many times have you told yourself that you're just tired, that you need more sleep, that it's just stress, that this exhaustion is normal? We live in a world that glorifies being busy, where feeling drained is almost seen as a sign of success. But what if it isn't? What if that never-ending fatigue isn't just a product of your lifestyle, but a warning, a signal from your body that something isn't right? The truth is, most people ignore this symptom because it feels too ordinary. But for many, it has been the first sign of a much bigger battle ahead. And if this information made you pause, if it made you question whether that exhaustion you've been feeling is just normal tiredness or something more, you need to do one thing right now. Leave a comment below. Tell me, have you ever experienced this kind of persistent fatigue? Have you ever brushed it off as nothing? Your experience might help someone else realize they need to pay closer attention to their body. And there's something even more surprising that we need to talk about. Another hidden sign that most people completely overlook, something that happens every single day, yet rarely raises any alarms. What if your digestive system was trying to warn you about something serious? Let's talk about that next. Changes in bowel habits. When everyday digestion issues hide a deadly truth. For most people, minor digestive issues come and go without much thought. A bit of bloating after a big meal, occasional constipation, or an upset stomach are usually dismissed as something we ate, stress, or just a temporary inconvenience. But what if these seemingly harmless changes weren't random? What if they were your body's way of signaling that something far more sinister was happening inside you? Sudden, unexplained changes in bowel habits are one of the most overlooked yet critical warning signs of colorectal cancer. Unlike common digestive discomfort, these changes aren't just occasional, they persist. If you've noticed a shift in how often you go to the bathroom, the consistency of your stool, or the presence of blood, your body could be sending you an urgent message. The problem? Most people ignore these signs until it's too late. The human digestive system is remarkably consistent, and for those who pay close attention to their bodies, any noticeable alteration in bathroom habits should be a red flag. Colorectal cancer develops gradually, often starting as the small, non-threatening polyps that slowly grow over time. These growths can cause obstructions in the colon, leading to symptoms like constipation, diarrhea, or a sensation of incomplete evacuation. Many assume these changes are just the result of diet fluctuations or stress, when in reality, they could be the earliest indicators of a life-threatening disease. Science strongly supports the connection between persistent bowel changes and cancer. A large-scale study published in the Lancet Oncology found that over 70% of colorectal cancer patients experienced unexplained alterations in their bowel movements long before they were diagnosed. The most common changes included prolonged constipation, sudden bouts of diarrhea, or stools that appeared thinner than usual, often described as pencil thin. These subtle shifts often go unnoticed until they become severe, at which point the cancer has already progressed. One of the most alarming symptoms is the presence of blood in the stool, which many people mistakenly attribute to hemorrhoids or minor digestive irritation. While it's true that bright red blood can be caused by less severe conditions, darker or tar-like stools could indicate internal bleeding from a tumor deep within the colon. This symptom is particularly dangerous because it often appears intermittently, making people falsely believe the problem has resolved itself. Beyond the physical changes, there is also a deep psychological aspect to this symptom. People rarely discuss their bowel movements, making it even easier to ignore the warning signs. There's an element of embarrassment, a natural reluctance to bring up such personal matters, even with a doctor. In many cultures, digestive health is a taboo topic, leading individuals to suffer in silence rather than seek medical attention. This societal discomfort can have devastating consequences, as delayed diagnosis dramatically reduces survival rates. Take, for example, the case of Tiffany Brown, a 34-year-old woman who experienced intermittent constipation and occasional blood in her stool. She assumed it was just irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, something she could manage with diet changes. It wasn't until she started feeling fatigued and experiencing severe stomach cramps that she finally went to a doctor. By then, her diagnosis was stage 3 colon cancer. Had she paid attention to those early warning signs, her prognosis could have been much different. Colorectal cancer is often labeled as an older person's disease, but recent studies show a troubling trend. Cases among young adults are skyrocketing. Research from the American Cancer Society reveals that rates of colorectal cancer in people under 50 have increased by over 50% in the last 3 decades. Even more concerning, younger patients are more likely to be misdiagnosed because doctors don't typically consider cancer as a possibility in people in their 20s and 30s. This means that when a young person complains of persistent bowel issues, they're often told it's just diet-related, anxiety-induced, or a minor gastrointestinal disorder. This dangerous misdiagnosis can allow cancer to progress undetected for years. But how do you distinguish between normal digestive fluctuations and something more serious? The key is persistence. A single episode of constipation or diarrhea isn't necessarily a cause for alarm. However, if you notice ongoing changes lasting for weeks or months, especially when accompanied by symptoms like weight loss, fatigue, or abdominal pain, it's a signal that something isn't right. Medical experts strongly recommend that anyone experiencing these symptoms undergo a colonoscopy or stool test, even if they believe they're too young to be at risk. This isn't about paranoia, it's about awareness. Many people believe that cancer symptoms must be dramatic to be significant. Severe pain, sudden collapses, or extreme illness. But the truth is, the most dangerous cancers are often the ones that whisper before they scream. Your body will always try to warn you if something is wrong. The real question is, will you listen? At this point, you might be wondering, if subtle changes in bowel habits can indicate something as serious as cancer, what else is your body trying to tell you? There's still one more crucial factor that could be revealing an underlying problem, something that most people experience daily, yet rarely connect to a life-threatening illness. It's time to take a closer look at the last hidden sign that could save your life. Now, I want you to stop for a second and really think. What would change if you started paying attention to what your body is telling you? How different would your life be if you took these warning signs seriously? If you stopped ignoring the whispers before they turned into screams? Most people watch a video like this. They find it interesting, and then they move on with their day. But the ones who truly transform their lives do something different. They take action. They seek more knowledge. They make a commitment to their health, to their future, to themselves. And that's exactly what I want for you. If this video made you think, if it gave you new insights, or if it made you question something you've been experiencing, then it's time to go beyond just watching. Hit the like button. Leave a comment sharing what impacted you the most. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because this is just the beginning. There's so much more that you need to know, so much that the mainstream never talks about, and I want to make sure you don't miss any of it. So go ahead, click the subscribe button, and turn on notifications. That way, you'll always be the first to know when we drop another video that could change your perspective or even save your life. Let's build a community that doesn't just watch, but takes control of their health and their future. Are you in? Then hit like, comment, share, and subscribe right now. Don't leave the video just yet. Since you've made it this far, I have a special bonus for you. There's a silent symptom that many people overlook, one that could be the final warning your body gives before it's too late. And the most unsettling part? Almost everyone experiences it at some point, but they dismiss it, thinking it's nothing. The truth is, this could be your body's last attempt to get your attention before something serious happens. Now you already know that unexplained weight loss can be an early sign of cancer, and that your body is constantly trying to warn you when something isn't right. But here's something almost no one realizes. Even if you're paying attention to these signs, there comes a moment when your body begins to send messages that are far more subtle and eerily precise about what's coming next. And there's more. Certain physical and mental shifts start to appear days, weeks, or even months before a major health event. Your body knows. It always knows. And it tries to tell you. The problem? Most people don't recognize these signs until it's far too late. If you truly want to understand the hidden warnings your body gives in its most critical moments, click on the video that just appeared on your screen and discover the signals that may indicate when the end is closer than you think. I'll see you there.